They say grief comes in waves. But nobody tells you how still the ocean becomes after the wreck. Just the sound of your own thoughts, drifting. Protagonist. She wanted dinner parties. Sunday mornings in robes and music in the background. Protagonist. If love was the promise, why does it feel like debt? He looks up. Protagonist. Maybe it's time to open a window. Let the storm in. Or maybe, just let it pass. He glances at the door. Something in his face changes. Not hope, something quieter. Resolve. Protagonist. Tomorrow, I clean the cupboard. The protagonist, late 30s, sits at the table. On the table, a cold, untouched meal and a small wedding ring. The protagonist stares at it, breathing slowly. The ring. A circle. No beginning, no end. It is said to symbolize eternal love, unbroken promises, and security, both emotional and economic. The protagonist picks up the ring, rolling it between fingers. But what happens when the symbol consumes more than it preserves? When its weight becomes too great? That chair across from me? Empty. Has been for weeks. Her coffee mug still sits on the counter. He stands slowly, walks to the sink, places the ring carefully beside the mug. The protagonist stands at the sink. He picks up the ring and places it gently into a small wooden box. Closes it. No ceremony. Just finality. Grief isn't loud. Not always. Sometimes it's a whisper in the steam of your morning coffee. He pours a fresh cup of coffee. No sugar. No cream. Just the way she hated it. A memory flickers her laugh in this same kitchen, barefoot, swaying to some old record, mocking his bitter taste. She's there. Alina. You drink coffee like you're punishing yourself. Maybe I am. She laughs. Then you deserve dessert. She kisses him quickly, cheeky, disappearing down the hallway. He exhales. That memory stings less than it used to. I kept everything the same after she left. As if routine could rewind time. As if familiar shapes could replace missing ones. He opens a cupboard. Takes down her mug. This time, he fills it. Sits at the table. 2 mugs now. One steaming, one cold. No food. No ring. Maybe today isn't about letting go. Maybe it's just about sitting with the emptiness. Not running from it. He reaches across the table, rests his fingers on the rim of her mug. A pause. Good morning, Alina. Partner. This one. It's perfect. Timeless. Young protagonist. It's expensive. Partner. Smiling. It's worth it. We're worth it. To love and to hold the ring becomes a pledge. But also a purchase. The young protagonist glances at the ring again. It sparkles under the glass like a promise. Young protagonist. It's more than a ring. Partner. Exactly. Don't go getting all sentimental on me now. They share a grin. The jeweler carefully lifts the ring and places it in a small velvet box. Jeweler. Shall I wrap it? Young protagonist. No. I'll take it as is. He takes the box with trembling hands. There's joy in his eyes, and a hint of fear, not of the cost, but of the future that now feels real. The same box now sits on a cluttered dresser. The apartment is small, lived in, filled with warmth. The young protagonist stands in front of a mirror, rehearsing. Young protagonist. Quietly. I love you. I want a life with you. Pause. No, that sounds generic. Try again. Since the moment you laughed at my awful karaoke, I've known. The door opens. Partner walks in, grocery bags in hand. Partner. Practicing your TED Talk? Young protagonist. Something like that. Partner sets the bags down and walks over. Partner. Whatever it is, you're gonna nail it. Years pass. The protagonist, older now, but not by much, stands at the window, coffee in hand. Partner, from the hallway. Did you see my keys? Protagonist. On the bookshelf, next to the candle you never light. A pause. The jingle of keys, a mumbled, found them. Partner. You working late again? Protagonist. Just till 8. Maybe 9. Partner, half smile. So. 10. They lean in, peck each other on the cheek. Protagonist. Drive safe. Partner. Always do. That night, the clock reads 10:42. The protagonist unlocks the door slowly, stepping into a dark apartment. The only light comes from the glow of the aquarium they impulsively bought 2 years ago, fish drifting, quiet and aimless. They sit on the edge of the bed, still in their work clothes. The ring rolls between fingers. From the hallway, soft footfalls. A sleepy voice. Partner. You're late. Protagonist. Gently. Yeah. Sorry. Partner. You eat. Protagonist. I grabbed something. Partner. Half laugh. Let me guess. Gas station sushi? They smile. A small one. Honest. Protagonist. Don't judge me. A beat. The partner steps closer, notices the ring in their hand. Partner. Haven't seen that on you in a while. Protagonist. I know. They look at each other, and for once it's not rushed or tired. Just quiet. Honest. There's a question hanging there, not sharp or accusatory. Just waiting. Protagonist. Do you think we're still us? Partner. Sometimes I wonder if we ever stopped being. They sit down beside them. Close, but not touching. Partner, after a pause. We got good at surviving. Might have forgotten how to live. Protagonist. That's not enough for me anymore. Partner. Me neither. The protagonist stays on the edge of the bed, unmoving, the ring pressed into their palm so tightly it leaves an imprint. Their breathing is shallow. Their eyes are dry, but their body looks like it forgot how to cry years ago. On the dresser, a photo frame lies face down. Not shattered, just turned away. They finally open their hand and look at the ring again. It gleams faintly, catching the overhead light. It still looks perfect. That's the worst part. Protagonist, to the empty room. You don't get to pretend nothing happened. They speak to the ring like it's a person. A witness. Maybe a traitor. Protagonist. You were supposed to mean something. You were supposed to hold something. They slip it onto their finger again. Not out of longing, but defiance. It feels tighter than it used to. Or maybe they're just heavier now with grief, with time, with failure. The door doesn't open again that night. Days pass. Texts go unread. Calls go to voicemail. The world outside continues, but inside everything is paused, like a record left spinning at the end of a song. One morning, the protagonist finds the ring again, not in the dish, not on their finger, but beneath the pillow. They don't remember putting it there. Maybe they didn't. They stare at it for a long while. And then, finally, they pick up their phone. A new message. Not long. Just truth. Text. Can we talk? Not to fix, just to understand. The message is sent. The screen stays blank for a while, no read receipt, no reply. Just that unbearable limbo where hope and dread intertwine. The protagonist doesn't pace, doesn't eat, just waits. Not with expectation, but resignation. Partner. Okay. That's all. 2 syllables. But it's enough. Later. They meet in a cafe that used to be their spot. Same corner booth, same cracked leather seats. The barista doesn't recognize them anymore. That feels strange, like even their history is starting to fade. They sit across from each other. 2 cups of coffee between them, going cold faster than either one speaks. The silence is thick but not hostile. Just fragile. Protagonist. Thanks for coming. Partner. Nods. Didn't know if I would. Protagonist. Yeah. Me neither. They look at each other, both unsure if they're supposed to start with an apology or a question. Instead, The partner breaks the tension with a memory. Partner. Remember the karaoke bar? You sang that awful Bowie cover. Couldn't carry a note to save your life. Protagonist. Laughs softly. Still can't. Partner. You were terrible. And I still fell for you that night. A long beat. Protagonist. When did we stop trying? Partner. We didn't stop. We just tried the wrong things. Or tried alone. The ring is in the protagonist's coat pocket. They can feel its weight. But they don't bring it out. Not yet. Protagonist. I kept thinking if I just held on tighter, I could fix it. But all I did was hold you too tightly to breathe. Partner. And I kept walking away hoping you'd chase me. But you just stayed. Still. Their hands rest on the table. Not touching, but closer than they were. Protagonist. So what now? Partner. I don't know. Maybe we're not supposed to fix it. Maybe we're just supposed to see it. See us. For what we were. For what we are. Protagonist. Quietly. And for what we're not anymore. A long silence. Then the protagonist reaches into their coat and places the ring gently on the table between them. No drama. Just a quiet offering. They both look at it. A familiar symbol. A weight reduced to a question. Partner. That doesn't mean it didn't matter. Protagonist. I know. And then, they swallow. A moment of hesitation. Of disbelief. Then pain. It isn't sharp, it's deep. A slow, internal fire, like something ancient and unnatural has entered their body. Something never meant to be taken in. Their hands grip the table. Their breath comes in quick, shallow gasps. They double over. They don't cry out. They endure. And slowly, the pain recedes. Not gone, just integrated. Absorbed. They sit back, dizzy, sweat beading along their hairline. Their fingers tremble as they reach for the glass and finally drink. The water tastes metallic. Or maybe that's just them now. Later. They walk outside, every step feels heavier. Or maybe it's just the weight of the ring, now buried inside their chest, lodged in memory, in muscle, in marrow. People pass by talking, laughing, rushing. The protagonist watches them, something inside quietly shifting. A symbol has been swallowed. Ownership reversed. The ring no longer binds. It belongs to them now, not as promise or burden, but as truth. They reach a bench and sit. Breathing slower now. Hand on stomach. Not dramatic. Not tragic. Just real. And in that stillness, something strange happens. A sense of calm. Not joy. Not closure. But presence. A moment finally, fully lived. They whisper to no one. Protagonist. You don't own me anymore. And maybe they're talking to the ring. The protagonist sits on the bench, hand resting lightly on their abdomen, where the ring now resides. Not in a jewelry box. Not on a finger. But inside them, an artifact swallowed, a burden absorbed. They don't feel free, exactly. But they feel something. A shift. A fracture mending in a new, unfamiliar way. A couple walks past, laughing, fingers intertwined. The protagonist watches them, expression unreadable. Once that was them. Once, love was a shared language. Now, it feels more like a dialect they only half remember. Their phone buzzes. A message. Partner. Thinking about you. They stare at the text. The simplicity of it. The timing. As if the universe sensed the transformation and sent a ripple through the past. They don't reply. Not yet. Instead, they pocket the phone and stand up slowly. There's a new gravity to their body. A strange awareness of every breath, every movement. The pain has dulled to a pressure not constant, but lingering. A quiet reminder of the moment they reclaimed what once defined them. They walk. No direction. Just forward. The city lights smear against the pavement. Reflections shimmer in puddles. In a storefront, they catch their reflection different somehow. Not dramatic. Just slightly off-center. As if they've become a version of themselves that remembers everything, but no longer carries it the same way. They turn away from the glass. Somewhere behind them, a wind picks up. Somewhere inside them, a ring shifts. And for the first time in a long time, the protagonist smiles not because they're happy, but because they finally feel real. Doctor. It's not moving. Not yet. We'll need to monitor for complications. A nurse looks at the scan and frowns. Nurse. Why would someone swallow a ring? The nurse checks the vitals. Heart rate. Elevated. Blood pressure. Erratic. But breathing. Steady. Inside the body, the ring rests in darkness. No longer on display. Back in the room, the partner enters. They hesitate in the doorway, eyes falling immediately to the bed. Their breath catches when they see the wires, the machines, the stillness. They walk in slowly, clutching a plastic bag, clothes, maybe, or books. Something they thought might help. Something normal. The doctor nods and quietly slips out. The partner sits, takes the protagonist's hand, brushes a knuckle with their thumb. Partner, softly. Why would you do this? There's no reply, but the monitor beeps. The breath comes. In, out. They glance at the X-ray on the monitor. That circle. That impossible, literal gesture of grief and reclamation. Partner, whispering. You didn't have to carry it alone. The protagonist stirs only slightly. A twitch of the fingers. A furrow of the brow. Outside the window, a street lamp flickers. Inside, the protagonist dreams. Not of the hospital. Not of the ring. But of water. They're sinking, gently. Surrounded by soft blue. No panic. No fear. Just weightlessness. And in their chest, where breath should live, something pulses steady and metallic. Eyes open. The ceiling is unfamiliar. The light is softer now. Morning. The partner is asleep in the chair, curled up and uncomfortable. But still here. The protagonist blinks. Their throat is dry. Every swallow reminds them it's still inside. Still lodged deep. But something's different now. It doesn't hurt. It resides. The nurse enters quietly, surprised to find them awake. Nurse. You're lucky. No perforation. No bleeding. You're stable. The protagonist nods faintly, then shifts their gaze to the sleeping figure beside them. Protagonist. Voice hoarse. How long? Nurse. 3 days. A pause. The protagonist closes their eyes again. Protagonist. Feels longer. The nurse checks vitals, scribbles notes. Before leaving, she hesitates. Nurse. If something hurts too much to wear, you don't always have to swallow it. You can just set it down. Partner. Hey. You scared me. Protagonist. I scared me too. The silence is heavy, but not cruel. Partner. I'm not asking what it meant. Not yet. I just need to know if you're still here. Protagonist. Quietly. I don't know what here is anymore. But I'm not gone. The partner reaches out. Their hands touch again, gently. Partner. Then maybe we start there. Therapist. You've made it part of you. But does it still control you? Protagonist. After a long pause. Sometimes. I feel it when I eat. When I laugh. When I lie on my stomach. It reminds me that love leaves marks even when it ends. Therapist. And do you want to keep it? Protagonist. Blinks slowly. It's not about want. It's about truth. I swallowed it so no one else could take it from me. I couldn't protect the relationship. But I could own the grief. The therapist nods. Thoughtfully. Therapist. You turned loss into something physical. Something permanent. That's not uncommon, though most people don't do it so literally. The protagonist lets out a dry laugh. It's the first in the session, but there's no humor in it. Protagonist. Nothing about me has ever been subtle. Therapist. It sounds like you're not just mourning what you lost, but who you were with it. The words land heavy. Protagonist. Barely above a whisper. I don't recognize myself without the pain. Silence fills the space between them. Not awkward, just full. Finally, the therapist leans in gently. Therapist. You can carry something without letting it shape you. You can hold the memory without letting it rot inside you. Protagonist. But how do I know when it's time to let it go? Therapist. When carrying it stops feeling like strength and starts feeling like surrender. The protagonist stares at the floor, breath shallow. Then they look up, eyes clearer than before. Protagonist. I'm not ready. But maybe I'm ready to want to be ready. The therapist smiles. Soft. Encouraging. Therapist. That's a beginning. It's there. But it's quiet now. Days pass. The protagonist begins to rejoin the world. Not fully, not brightly, but enough. Small things. Grocery store lines. Quiet walks. The feel of sunlight on skin. They move through space like someone relearning their shape. But at night, they dream of circles. Sometimes it's the ring, enormous, glowing, suspended in a void. Other times it's less literal, a drain swirling water endlessly, a mouth that never speaks, an eye that never blinks. Each dream feels the same center, the same silence. And when they wake, there's a pressure, not pain, not quite, but presence. One morning, they stand in front of the mirror, lifting their shirt, fingertips tracing the outline of their belly. They can almost see it, the ring, not just as metal lodged inside, but as something more. It pulses faintly beneath the skin, as if responding to their thoughts. They flinch. Therapist. You look different today. Protagonist. I feel it. Like something's rearranging itself. Like I swallowed more than metal. Therapist. Grief can do that. It can remake the body, rewire the brain. Protagonist. This feels deeper. Like it's changing who I am, not just what I feel. The therapist hesitates, then leans forward. Therapist. Do you want it out? A beat. Protagonist. No. Therapist. Why? Protagonist, after a long pause. Because I'm beginning to understand it. And I don't think I was ever supposed to wear it. I think I was meant to hold it in a way no one else could. Protagonist. What are you? And somewhere, deep within, something listens. It doesn't answer. But it waits. Protagonist. We say things are eternal because we're afraid they're not. A hawk circles overhead, wide arcs in the pale sky. The protagonist stops at a tree, one they recognize. Familiar bark, carved initials faded into the trunk. Their fingers trace the scar. They sit in the grass, still, breathing. Later, they lie back, hand on chest now, not stomach. Protagonist. I thought I needed it inside me, that I had to carry it to honor what it meant. But maybe it's not mine to carry forever. The world feels different now, somehow. People bustle by, heads down, focused on their own paths. But the protagonist walks with something quieter inside them, no longer burdened, not by the past, but carrying it gently as a part of who they are. They stop at a cafe, a place they used to visit often with the partner. A table for two. The table is empty now, and yet, it feels like there's space for them to fill it on their own. They order a coffee, sip it slowly, and watch the city move around them. For the first time, they're not waiting for something to change. They're just being. The barista, a young woman with kind eyes, notices them, smiles. A silent greeting, not rushed, not uncomfortable. The protagonist smiles back. And that smile, so small, carries a weightlessness, a recognition that things can be simple, and perhaps they can be good again. just not in the way they had imagined. Later, they walk through the park. The trees are blooming, spring wrapping the world in green and gold. Children run past, laughing, their voices light. The protagonist watches them, then glances down at their own hand. It's empty. There's no ring. Not because it's gone, but because it's not needed anymore. The absence feels different. Not like loss. Not like freedom. Just space. They sit on a bench, the sun warming their face. And for the first time in a long time, they close their eyes and breathe without anything heavy inside them. Days turn into weeks. They reconnect with old friends, not rushing into deep conversations, but allowing themselves to listen, to share without expectation. It's easy. And it's hard. They feel the pull of old wounds, but they don't run from them anymore. They carry them as stories, not burdens. One evening, they find themselves walking back to the old apartment, the place they once shared. The door is locked. The lights are dim. The memories sit there, undisturbed. They stand for a moment, staring at the windows, remembering. They smile, softly, as if saying goodbye to a version of themselves that doesn't need to be reclaimed anymore. Therapist. How are you? Protagonist. Better. Quiet. I don't know what I'm waiting for anymore, but I think that's okay. Therapist. It is. And in that silence, the protagonist steps into the world once more unburdened, not because they've forgotten, but because they've learned how to hold what matters, and leave the rest behind. They take the ring with them, but not in their body. It rests in their mind, a soft symbol, no longer a trap, just a piece of who they are. They step forward, with no rush, no promise to make. Just a quiet acceptance of the weight of everything, and the peace of knowing that they can move through it. Finally, without needing to prove anything.